Hey, what's up, guys? This is Brian from WhisperStatus74, and I have a show for you on Netflix. It's an original. It is called Kingdom. And the reason I want to talk about this show today is not so much the content of the show and the story, but of the show's picture quality. We've talked at length on this channel about some of Netflix's other shows being a little bit underwhelming. For those of you that have just recently purchased a 4K HDR capable display, where you've plugged in Netflix, you've started to watch it, and you're a little bit turned off that the image doesn't look noticeably better than your 1080p or your previous 1080p display, or it may look worse in terms of the way the picture looks. One of the biggest complaints that I hear is grain structure, is muddy colors, and is the picture quality, which I think some of you are going from smaller 1080p displays to larger 4K displays, not to mention compression, your own bandwidth, your own network, all these things come into play. But like a lot of you, I found the picture quality of some of the Netflix and the Amazon shows to be slightly underwhelming, especially viewed on a much larger display. This video is basically for the grain haters out there that hate grain in their films. A lot of you don't mind film grain when it is natural or it's inherent versus fake film grain or digitized noise to make something look grimy or a little bit more used or lived in. This show, Kingdom, is completely devoid of any of that grain in any shot. Maybe some of the outside shots are a little bit soft, but everything else is pretty much crystal clear. Even exterior shots like this that have a lot of smoke, fog, would typically cause noise or grain in the image are very clear. Now, for those of you that like a artificial image, an image that is so clean that you can actually enable advanced contrast or dynamic contrast into your image, as well as motion settings, for those of you that love to have a lot of soap opera effect, this is a pristine show for that. Now, I know a lot of you guys hate that, some of you love it, but if you're a grain hater that loves to have that very clear image, this definitely is the show for it. Which is interesting considering it's a period piece. It has some effects and makeup. It's a zombie film, a horror film, thriller. Typically, you would have that grain structure to hide some of the costumes and some of the makeup, and that doesn't seem to be the case here at all. It really does seem to be clear, perhaps to its detriment, as some of the scenes do look a little bit fake, not in terms of the effects, but in terms of looking like a play. Black levels are handled very well, considering that it's mostly daytime, mid, dusk, dawn. It covers all of the spectrum of day-night cycles, and it seems to handle them all very, very well. It's got a decent black level, not crazy black or crushing black. Now remember, there's no HDR. That's probably the one biggest disadvantage, but it just is a very clear image in comparison to the 1080p. I watched this on my plasma initially and was like, wow, it's a little bit of a soft image, doesn't look bad. I put it on my Sony 900E and was blown away by the clarity. It's the kind of 4K resolution that so many of us expect. Now, again, the show is excellent. I like it very much. It's a little scary. It's also extremely violent, so be careful of that as you go into it. Again, very violent. If you don't like violent imagery, please don't watch it. It is also amazing in terms of its set design and its costume and makeup. So even though you have the clarity that this transfer offers, other than looking playish, meaning it's so clear that it can look like it's actually like you're watching it out a window, it doesn't seem to have the flaws of some other things that are shot that way, some other content shot that way. It's just very clear in terms of clothing, pores, makeup, hair, all the things that we look at an image to say, wow, we're watching HD or Ultra HD footage. The lack of HDR is a shame. We'll see a lot of things on Amazon or Netflix that are 4K or HDR. Sometimes it's not both. But I would recommend watching this one. It is crystal clear. Its aspect ratio is not quite full screen. It's one of the ones like Narcos that is very slim in terms of its black bars. However, it does look full screen, so it's very immersive. Excellent show. Check out The Kingdom for the clearest picture I've seen on Netflix so far. And for you grain haters, it's definitely one where you can enable motion flow. All right, take care, guys. Thank you.